The design for clocks has not seen much of a change over the past centuries or so. Part of the reason is because it's already good at one thing it's meant to do, that is, to tell the time. And it is up to a certain point that we stop questioning what a clock should look like. What else could it be? But as we evolve, there is this need to know more than just the time. We normally check the time to make sure that we're punctual before we leave the house. But as we're more and more aware about our comfort, we start to check the temperature. This is to make sure that we have the proper attire to stay comfortable outside the house. And it has even come to a point where checking the temperature becomes extremely fundamental to us, that it has an equivalent importance to time. But even so, it requires us to complete two separate actions to check the time and temperature. You would have to look at the clock for time and a thermometer for the temperature. Even on our smartphone, the informations of time and temperature are gathered separately, as it requires you to go to a separate app for information about the weather. For the past couple of months, we've been working hard to solve this problem. Our goal is to create a streamlined way to perceive these informations. We produce concepts, develop programs, and build prototypes of what a time and temperature instrument of the 21st century should look like. Meet time. Time is our idea of what an instrument that tells you both time and temperature should look like. It combines the traditional aesthetic of a clock with a color-changing LED which depends on the temperature. It is designed in such a way that the diffused LED becomes the emotion of the clock that is trying to tell you something. And that something is the information about the temperature. We found that the best way to present information about weather is by physically adding another layer of information on top of the traditional clock. And this layer of information comes in the form of color. Color is an extremely effective way to tell you a rough estimate of temperature outside without giving you any numerical data. By doing so, information can be perceived subconsciously through the changing appearance of the clock. The color of the clock will change from blue being the coldest, followed by white, yellow, and red as the temperature increases. As the information of the temperature is recorded continuously via a temperature sensor that is placed outside, color can be programmable depending on what color you would like to display at different ranges of temperature. We have spent the past couple of months in building and refining the prototype. The body of the clock is constructed from multiple layers of wood that has been laminated together. The block of wood then undergoes multiple processes of machining, followed by a post-machining chamfer by hand. The body of the clock is then stained and treated to protect and increase the lifespan of the product. The dome is fabricated by machining a solid block of acrylic, which is then hand sanded to remove machining marks and polished to achieve the required finish. And the underside of the dome is then sandblasted to create an even matte finish. And this is extremely important in order to achieve the correct level of diffusivity required to create the hands of the clock. Time is our vision on what a modern time and temperature instrument should be like. It presents the information about the time and weather at a glance, which leads to a more efficient way to digest these informations. And we believe that it could change the way we look at the time and